Hey everybody, the Cock 45 and Son up with a wicked Bowie knife.
Yeah, it's pretty wicked.
Is that the cold steel you got at the NRA convention?
Yeah, it's a. Well, no, I didn't get
this.
You
had that before.
Yeah, I ordered this from Amazon. It's the Frontier Bowie, I believe. It's pretty cool.
Looks pretty scary. Doesn't that make you want to kill somebody to have that?
It does, but I restrain myself.
Do you? Yeah, I do the same thing with my firearms. They make me want to shoot somebody, but you know.
Yeah, it's hard, but you know, gotta do it.
Man. Oh yeah. Well, anyway, we probably do a vlog. We hadn't talked to y'all for a while. I know you have missed it. You've been wondering what we've been thinking, because you're a little scared that we might go into the woods and do some deep woods thinking, right? So anyway, yeah, we thought we'd catch up on a few things, and we haven't done this for a little while, and just let you know what's been going on. And we are also, surprisingly enough, going to let you know what's been going on with you, because we know all, don't we, John?
Yeah, a lot of people don't realize that we can actually see through the computer screen.
I know, it's cool too.
Yeah, like hey, you might want to.
Yeah, might want to get dressed there, and little too much pizza there too.
Yeah, and that, you know, Jim, he's not paying attention right now. I can tell.
He's got the TV on behind him.
Yeah, he's not. Jim in Knoxville, he's not paying attention.
Could you get your folks there in the room to turn the TV down at least?
Come on, man. Life's not that important over there.
Pay attention, pay attention.
Yeah, you need to be watching us.
Oh, we're not going to talk to you.
Yeah.
Now, let's see, what do we want to do? We want to say anything worthwhile? Probably not, but we did want to talk at you and just catch you up on some things. Well, first of all, let's mention the meet and greet. The last in our series this spring is at Elks Outdoors in Pleasant View, right off the interstate at exit 24, off of I-24 between Clarksville and Nashville. So it's on Main Street right there. I'll put the website on in the description. So be sure it is on the 25th of April, which is just a little bit more than a week from now. So hopefully, if you missed us at the NRA convention or up in northern Kentucky last month, hopefully you'll be able to get by there. It's kind of a customer appreciation day at Elks Outdoors. It's a small shop, great people, and quite a few handguns, some rifles, and so I think they're going to have snacks, kind of a barbecue or something. They're going to do a little cooking outdoors, I think. They do that, I think, once a year as just kind of a customer appreciation thing. So we're just going to be there from 11 to 2 and help appreciate them or let them appreciate us. We'll be a customer and get appreciated. How's that sound?
Sounds good.
We'll make Jim Elks appreciate us. We'll buy something. That way we'll be a customer, and it'll be customer appreciation for us.
That's right.
Yeah.
So wait, so if you don't buy anything, you're not appreciated?
I guess.
Well, do you have to buy something to be a customer?
That's a good question. I think anybody that goes through the door is a customer in any business, right?
Are they?
I don't know. Potential customer.
There you go. Yeah.
Although, as we have discussed
but it's not
before,
potential customer appreciation, though.
Well, that's true.
I don't know.
As we have discussed, there are some gun shops that do not treat people who come through the door as potential customers. Is that right?
Yeah.
They treat people as potential annoyances.
Yeah, potential dumb question askers.
That's right.
Which I get that. I mean, you work at a gun shop. We talked about this a million times, but you work at the same place for a long time. You get dumb questions. You get tired of them. It makes sense, but there's a reason why you're there, and it's to not turn people off and to answer their dumb questions nicely, and not treat everyone like they're an idiot or be rude to them if they are. Because some people are ignorant of guns, and that's okay. That's why they're there, to learn, maybe. So.
Yeah, and people get turned off of firearms if they don't. I mean, think about it. Lots of other products, you can go on a multitude of places to get them. But if you go into a gun shop and you get a really bad experience there, you might just decide you don't want to be a shooter or get into firearms. Or you go to Walmart or Academy Sports, and and the small gun shops would like to see them stay in business. So anyway,
yeah. I mean, really, in a way, it takes a certain kind of person to go into a shop dedicated to a certain area or niche. Niche. I said it. We were just talking about that the other day. Now I said it. We were just talking about how pretentious it is that some people say niche instead of niche, and I just said it. Anyways, that some people go into a very niche business and they don't know anything about it. It can be kind of intimidating. I know I've been in that situation before where there's something I'm a little interested in, but it's a real hardcore niche kind of thing, and the people that are there, they know a lot about it. It can be a little intimidating to go in there where the stuff they assume you just have no clue.
You're right.
So
they know you're going to ask all the same dumb questions, so if they're not extremely patient, then they lose a customer. Maybe somebody to the endeavor or the hobby, whatever it is.
Right, and that's not good.
Of that niche. I like niche myself. Niche.
Niche. Wait, isn't that a guy? It's a philosopher, isn't it?
I think so. What else we've been up to? Well, we're going to be shooting and we're doing videos, and we got a Glock 43 in since it started shipping now, and we'll be shooting that. And I think that's one of the guns we're going to send back to auction. I mentioned in radio show, I guess, and we may in a video or two mention, but we've got a lot of guns from Buds. It's pretty cool, but they really help us. They're a major sponsor. And they would kind of like to have some of those guns to auction off, and because they've been fired by John or me. So some of you already know it, we're going to send most of those back and let them put them out there on auction, whatever, and if you want one, check it out. We're not, once we send them back, we're not going to keep up with it, but there will be auctions, and they will let it be known if it's a gun we used here at the compound that we reviewed. Okay.
Right, but the bottom line is we can get more guns from them.
Yeah.
So we'll be able to get a wider variety, hopefully, of guns that you guys want to see.
Right. Yeah. Since we're not keeping as many of them now, or if any of them hardly, then we're not going to feel reluctant to just request anything that they have. Okay. Because we're just going to turn it around, send it back to them, and so that's the benefit to us and to you, and so that's pretty cool. I don't care what they sell them for, what someone buys them for. That's irrelevant. None of that comes to us.
Yeah, that's their business, not ours.
So just thought I'd let you know that most of the guns, almost all from Buds, will be going back. So whatever it is, you can kind of watch for it, and it'll be popping up on an auction. Okay.
Unless we really, really like it, then we might
we may not get it back.
I don't know.
No, we're going to restrain ourselves. We get firearms from a variety of sources, and of course that is a gun that we can shoot and try out and do a video with and all that, and that's the main thing. So anyway, I thought I'd let you know about that. What else, John, is going on that they're dying to hear about?
Yeah, well, I'm excited to do the Glock 43. The only thing about the 43 so far is that weird plus sign. Is whenever you carry it, there's this really visible plus sign, and it kind of negates the concealed carry. If you guys have seen the Glock commercial for the 43, you'll see what I'm talking about. So that's kind of a weird thing.
Yeah, I'm not sure I've seen that.
You haven't seen that yet?
No.
Okay, so not aware of that feature.
Okay. Have to look for it on YouTube. I'll bet it's on YouTube.
The Glock commercial.
Okay.
For 43.
It's the Glock 43 commercial.
Right.
Okay.
Yeah.
We'll Google that and find it. Search for it.
Yeah, I figure solve the mystery of the Glock 43 plus sign.
That's right. So what else? What else you been doing over on Hickok 45 and Son, John?
I've just been keeping up with the radio show. I've been trying to make sure I do a show every week. Keeping that up, and it is on iTunes now. I can't remember if we talked about that in the last vlog, but you can check it out on iTunes. If you just go on iTunes and search something like Gun Culture or Gun Culture Radio, it's called Gun Culture Radio. So if you just search anything like that, it should pull it up, and you can download it there, put it on your iPod, whatever. I may try to get it over on. See, there's another hosting service like Stitcher, I think is another. I may try to get it over there at some point too. But I've been uploading been doing the videos. That takes some time. I got a friend that's helping me out with that to do the video aspect of it. I've been doing that, and that's been cool.
That's cool.
A video with it. And
hope you all are getting over there and checking it out. John's doing some cool stuff. He's doing real radio shows and interviewing people and doing a lot of things. My radio show is just me going out to the barn and yakking at you. He's doing some interesting things with different guests and a variety of guests, people that that you would normally hear from, maybe on a firearms podcast. So
your show is interesting too. I thought maybe something that I could something else I could bring to the table is I've always been kind of I don't know, a little bit out there when it comes to some things, or at least interested in a lot of things that some people might consider out there. And I like to put that message out there that just there's no reason to be angry or hate other people because they have different ideas or they think differently about things.
Especially if they have a Bowie in their hand.
Yeah, exactly. And so part of what I want to do is bring is bringing lots of different perspectives. You know, because like it's one reason I called it Gun Culture Radio, is because I want to encompass. It's not going to be a show as much about, you know, technical stuff with guns. It's not going to be that as much. It's not going to be as much about products or technical gun stuff. It's going to be more about, you know, the gun culture. You know, anything that has to do with guns, and not just guns. I'm going to talk about, and I do talk about lots of things that have nothing to do with guns, but it's like a destination for the gun culture. So it's either going to be perspectives on the gun culture itself from lots of different people, whether they're on the left politically or on the right politically, or it may be perspectives on things that are outside of the gun culture from a gun culture point of view. You know, so just
sounds good.
Yeah, just having fun with it.
Yeah. So yeah, hope to get over there. Of course, you do a lot of postings on the Facebook, the Hickok 45 and Son Facebook too.
Yeah, like Facebook over there.
And of course, I know some of you don't like Facebook. You know, we're not what you consider Facebookers, but it's part of the endeavor, as I've said before. So if you can hold your nose and go to Facebook, sometimes that's where a lot of information is.
It has its place. Like honestly, I'm not that crazy about Facebook for the personal Facebook.
Yeah, me
it gets a little crazy to me. It's funny because, you know, I've had it, you know, since it's been around, and I've had a personal Facebook that I keep private, and I'll go for years and not use it, and then every now and then I'll say, you know what, I'm going to start using it, and I'll start using it, and at first it's fun, and then I just get bored with it. It's like, this is just, this is not good.
It's a convenient place for maybe old classmates or somebody to find you.
Yeah,
and say, hey, how you doing? Catch up with them or something. That's about all I do with it.
But if it's like a single purpose Facebook though, like I actually follow some Facebooks that are of people who are like entertainers, or they have some kind of thing going, or maybe some political interest that I'm interested in.
Yeah.
And so it's a way to stay informed, or entertainment. Sometimes there's funny stuff on there. And
yeah, like with the firearms community, you know, there's some good Facebooks, you know, regarding that. And most people, and we use it to help. It's hard on YouTube, you know, to make postings and things about various things. It just needs to be a video. So at least on Facebook, you can share things, like Twitter sometimes too. But everything I put on Facebook goes to Twitter. So yeah, we can kind of get the word out on the videos that are going up, or something interesting that we see, or some. It's also a good political things coming up. It's easy to share articles and things, just like Twitter. So that's the value in it, I see. So
like those posts about you know, some of the pictures you've taken on our travels and stuff. Places don't allow guns.
Yeah,
you know,
I try to do that when I see those,
to try to expose some of that stuff.
Yeah, so I think a lot of when people say they can't stand Facebook, I think that's what they're thinking. They're thinking, oh my God, my aunt's on there all the time, or that kind of thing, always sharing this. You know,
every meal you eat, and where you're going. And
well, you know, we don't use for that. You can imagine.
No, you know what? We should start doing that, I think.
Yeah, really. Wow. So anyway, so please be aware of those things going on. We don't talk about those things very much, and I guess we should. A lot of people aren't even aware, probably, that we use Facebook, both the Hickok 45 Facebook, and then also the Hickok 45 and Son Facebook, and I have a Twitter, Hickok 45, even Instagram now, the real Hickok 45 on Instagram. I don't use that much, but you know, it's pretty cool. I just signed up, and it's pretty interesting. It's very simple to post something occasionally. I tend to still use Facebook or Twitter when I do that, but our main drive, of course, is the YouTube, the videos. So you're aware of that. There was something else there that came to mind for a brief instant that left even more quickly. but the
big thing is the NRA annual meeting, as it's called. You know, the NRA show usually is what I call it.
Oh man, yeah.
It was awesome having it in Nashville this year. It was weird. It was almost surreal, because we're so used to traveling to those and staying in hotels, and you get done tired days, go back to the hotel, but it was like go home, you know. And
it was
there all 3
great,
days.
The most amazing thing about it was there were almost 80,000 people in Nashville for the NRA convention, and I think there were only about 1,000 shootings that weekend. And that's not bad. There was 80,000 people. You figure at least half of them were packing guns, right?
That's true. Yeah, that's not bad.
And you would expect that in downtown Nashville, that many people packing guns, maybe 40,000. There'd be about 1,000 shootings. Oh no, wait a minute. There were no shootings.
Oh yeah, that's right. That must have been something else you were thinking of.
How could that be? with 80,000 NRA, and we all know they're gun nuts and they're Neanderthals and they're wackos, right? And many of them, probably most, with firearms. Because now most states allow concealed carry. Probably most NRA members have a concealed carry permit. And Tennessee has reciprocity with just every other state, I guess, practically, that allows it. And so there was no problem, even in the convention hall, you know, having your firearm if you wanted, open or concealed. So I figure most people, not 95%, but probably most people had a firearm on them, loaded.
Right. I don't know if you heard about this. There was some article that was released. I can't remember who it was now. Wish I could remember to give them the negative attention, but it was some kind of article was posted about the hypocrisy, right, of the NRA, because the NRA claims that more guns equals less crime, but they don't allow loaded guns in the convention hall. With being they're talking about the display guns, right? So they were saying the NRA was hypocritical because the guns that were there for the show, not the ones people were carrying, were not loaded.
Yeah, we should have had them all loaded. Every gun on the Ruger display is hot.
Yeah.
And Smith & Wesson and Walther and Glock, they're all hot, man. Yeah, just go by and check them out. That'd be cool. Right? I don't know if I trust even 80,000 NRA members.
Yeah.
I might want to be wearing some ballistic protection.
Yeah. And, you know, of course, you know, I mean, this might be unpopular to say, but you know, all bets are off when you're talking about a demonstration. We're talking about a situation like this where there's a demonstration of firearms. When it comes to guns, you know, the safety, of course, as long as you follow the basic rules, you basically won't have any problems.
Yeah.
You know, short of some just insanely freak universal occurrence, you're not going to have any. You're not going to have any problems. But with that being said, if you're in a situation to where it's not black and white, right? For example, when I used to work security, we would do some training, like some, you know, kind of very subpar training, just as a why not in our office sometimes. And whenever we had blue guns out, or we were using any type of fake guns or anything like that, we always made sure any real guns that were loaded or anything like that was in a completely different spot. Right. So at the NRA show, you have all these guns that is just already considered safe, where people can just pick them up, play with them. Now I always, you know, check them just out of habit. You know? Me too. But you have all these guns that are basically just fair game to anyone that walks in that can play with them. It's a little bit of obviously they shouldn't be, those guns should never be loaded, but even people carrying guns, I could see someone making the case to where that could be a bit of a problem, to where someone was absent-minded and they got their gun confused with the gun they were handling. And now, of course, you know, gun shops similar, and the problem, you know, never occurs. But it is a little bit of a different situation, though.
It is.
When you have guns like that.
And I said the same thing. I could make that argument that, you know, that is good, that's cool, you can carry in there, you know. But, you know, it does present a situation, you know. There could be some people that, especially open carry or even not open carry, but if your guns are really handy and you're looking at the new Glock 43, and in fact, I found that being tempting at times. You know, the Glock 43, holding it and say, well, I'd like to compare that with my my LC9 in terms of size or something, you know, and maybe I've got one in my pocket and I could, you know, and of course I would never do that, but, you know, maybe there's somebody just not thinking as much about it, and they've got something right there on their hip, and oh, how's that compare with the size of this? And they've been walking around snapping guns all day and working them and pulling the triggers because there's no firing pins in anything. So I could make an argument too.
It's extremely unlikely to happen.
Yeah.
But I can at least see some logic behind it. If someone wanted to say, at a convention like this where guns are everywhere for people to handle freely, you know, I get it.
I could too. Even if the NRA came down with the edict, you know, before the meeting, said, look, it is legal. We would rather you not carry in the hall. You know, in the convention, I wouldn't raise a fuss and make it big, because for the reasons we just discussed. You know, because for one thing, one accident, you know how it is when one thing like that happens. If it did happen, oh boy, hear that all come out of the woodwork around the planet. You know, so
like for example, this may be a slightly different example, but let's say if I hosted an airsoft tournament, let's say on my property. I would have a very, very, very strict rule, as gun friendly as I am, that no one is carrying any real guns while airsoft is being played. Just because of the obvious situation there.
Yeah, so we don't want to go overboard with our gun rights, you know, it turned into a mania. You know, there are times when, you know, you just have to use common
And you have
sense.
to be careful of that. You know, that's a good point to bring up, because that happens a lot with things. Whenever there's a pushback against something, you almost can do yourself a disservice by, because of that pushback, then something in your brain goes automatically, well, anything I want is acceptable.
That's right.
Anything, the most extreme is what we want.
We don't compromise on anything.
Right. Then you end up discrediting yourself, or you end up creating a much more difficult situation.
You defeat your purpose, I think.
Right. But anyways.
So anyway, we've got off about 3 or 4 things we didn't even know we were going to talk about.
The NRA show, in a nutshell, it was great. Awesome. And,
we met a bunch of interesting folks and saw lots of cool guns. We had a meet and greet there, as many of you know, at the federal booth, and they were really good to us.
Yeah, that was cool.
That was good. It was really great. I guess a lot of people probably get the impression, because we've done meet and greets at the federal booth at the SHOT Show and NRA convention twice now. And we don't work for federal; they just help us out with ammo. But one of the cool things they do is they provide a setting for us to have a meet and greet. It's not like we're hired to do meet and greets for federal. I mean, it's a mutually beneficial. They've got always a great place to have one.
They usually have the biggest booth.
Yeah, they're one of the biggest booths. They help us out. They even put a video or a picture on a big screen. They announce it, and they had a nice gal. What was her name? Was it Jackie? That took the pictures, you know, so John didn't have to take all the pictures for a change, and it was just a really nice meet and greet. And we appreciate the 40,000 of you that came out for the meet and greet. Actually, it was 2 people, wasn't it? No, actually,
like 40
it was
people.
a longer line than we deserved. Let's put it that way. But yeah, a lot of people came in. We met a lot of people, met some babies, some little kids, and as I've said before, I'm just always. I'm a little surprised, and I'm pleased and honored and flattered and everything that so many families come out, different people of all ages, and so that's always cool. Yeah, everybody likes guns, and everybody's watching YouTube these days. We can definitely verify that, can't we?
Oh yeah, yeah.
Yeah, who'd we see?
Met a lot of cool other YouTubers there.
Yeah, some other ugly YouTubers like.
Yeah, I ran into the Haas USMC, which you guys may have seen. He was on. One of my radio show episodes, and I always have a knack for running into him, it seems like. And then Yeager, we talked to him for a while, and actually while we were talking to Yeager, James Yeager, that is, Masa Yub, walked up.
The Messiah walked up.
Yeah, he did.
In fact, I ran over and ambushed him, and like people do me, I just ran into it because whenever I see Masa Yub, I've been following him forever. I just have to talk to him a little bit, you know.
Yeah,
fortunately, he didn't pull a gun and shoot me or hit me or anything. I didn't scare him. I didn't startle him. Who else do we?
TN Outdoors 9, of course.
Yeah, who's he? Do we know him?
He's that Bigfoot guy.
Bigfoot guy.
Yeah,
okay.
Yeah.
He's the one that shoots all the Jello, right?
Yeah.
Okay.
And dresses up like Bigfoot.
Yeah. Plinkster, we saw. Speaking of him, Plinkster, 22 Plinkster. And the worst thing about that, there was this nice family that came up to us and wanted a picture and everything. We talked to them. There was this little guy about 5 or 6 years old. And, wife and husband and maybe another child, I forget. And had a nice long conversation with all of them and everything. They were talking about their videos, and we just had a great conversation with them. And then I'll be darned if his badge or whatever he didn't move, and he was wearing a 22 Plinkster T-shirt. I mean, it was. I said, man, I've been talking to you. I've been nice to you, little kid, and you are actually wearing a 22 Plinkster T-shirt. I thought you were a smart little kid.
Yeah, and when you see something like that, it really almost like cancels them out as a fan, because if they have taste that bad, it doesn't matter that they watch your videos.
Man, such poor taste, that little kid at that age. They're ruining that little kid's mind,
Yeah.
Well, anyway, we had a lot of who else?
Tom Gresham. We had a great conversation with him. With the show. Great guy.
Yeah. From Gun Talk.
Yeah, and then of course we got to Zeke from Talking Lead had a little SDI sponsor over at the Garden Sun Channel. They had a little get together, and Eric and Chad from Iraq veteran was there. Met them. They're great guys. Enjoy talking to them. And we meet them occasionally.
We see a lot of these
and Such was
there. Who's he?
Yeah, he's that guy that He's real good at surviving.
Oh yeah, he lives in. He's the guy whose house we're going to when the zombie apocalypse.
Yeah, that guy. Yeah.
Because we figure we've got the guns,
But
he's got all the
stuff.
Gear, so we're going to go.
Yeah. Which he gave me a flashlight, one of his flashlights.
Yeah.
He gave me a flashlight right off his key ring.
We'll post in the description his address because I think everybody should go there, right? When the apocalypse comes.
He's a great guy, though. We talked for a long time.
Who else do we see? Well, most importantly, we saw a lot of you, hundreds and hundreds and hundreds, and talked to hundreds of you, and we appreciate you, coming to that convention, and we appreciate you not being shy and saying hi, as I always tell you. And by the end of the third day, I was beginning to question whether I should advise that. But we about lost our voice. But it was great for 3 days. We met so many of you, and it was just great. Most of you are kind of funny looking, but that's okay. So are we.
Yeah, exactly.
Who else?
Of course, Arlie Army was there. We didn't get a chance to talk to him
this time,
but we stared at him for a while and made him nervous.
we made him nervous. He was a little worried about us.
Yeah, he was. Who else was there? Apparently Donald Trump was there. I didn't see him, but someone I know.
Yeah, we were at the Brownells booth. They said he had just been there with his son or daughter. I think his son or daughter.
He was trying to buy something, but his credit card got declined.
Yeah, I think he had 4 credit cards. None of them worked. He was overdrawn or something on his bank account.
I guess.
And we saw several politicians. We didn't talk to any of them, but they were there. A lot of people, come to that, and it's a huge event. Again, I know everybody's not an NRA member, and there are people who even have a problem with the NRA. I've talked about that, but again, they're kind of necessary evil, and they don't do everything perfectly. They put on a great convention, though. Great gun show.
They do. They do.
No, they do a lot of good work, and the other organizations do as well. Yeah, Alan Gottlieb, we talked to him.
Oh yeah,
of other organizations that do a lot of good work. So that's the thing about it. I don't think, even if I hated the NRA, I think I'd almost have to be a member to go to those meetings. I mean, that's where all the gun community convenes once a year.
Right.
We're to get right down to it, and so many people to the tune of 80,000 that just like guns and are a part of it. So
that's the one we miss is Colin Noir. It seems like
I've never met him.
We always go to the same places, but we never actually run into him.
I've yet to meet him. I'm not sure he exists.
He might not be real.
I think he's virtual or something.
Yeah, he's like the he's virtual.
But anyway, like you say, just in all the name dropping here, it's a neat place to be because there's just everybody goes to it. It's although it has gotten so crowded, hardly anybody goes anymore. But to quote Yogi Berra,
that's true.
What else about the convention? It's just neat seeing all the guns. You've heard me talk about that before, I know. And every manufacturer has all their guns there. They have the firing pins out, and they're all accessible handguns. They're designed for you to walk up and just pick any one of them up. It's on a cord usually, and you can fire it and check it and fire it and squeeze the trigger all you want to. So whenever you buy a used gun from any of these companies, make sure it's not one that was at a convention.
Yeah.
It's been modeled extensively.
They even had some of those newer, I forget what they call them, but it's some kind of training tool where it's like a video game, but you have a gun that's it feels like a real gun. It has like this compressed air magazine in it.
Was that like the CMC trigger thing?
They have one, but it's not their thing. They were using it for testing. You could test their triggers with that, but they had that's pretty cool though. The compressed air where. So it's a video game, but you're actually shooting basically a real gun, and it sort of feels like a real one. Of course, you don't have the blast and the noise, but you get a little bit of the recoil and the action moving and stuff. So, it's better than not having it.
Oh yeah,
so it's pretty cool.
Yeah, I saw a lot of young people, shooting those, just having a big time. That's the thing. You owe it to yourself if you can to get to one of the NRA conventions. As I've said before, even if you don't like the NRA, hold your nose maybe and join for 1 year and go to one of those. And I don't know, it's kind of it rejuvenates you, I think in a lot of ways, and just in your interest in firearms and the gun rights, and because everybody's there, so many families are there. It was funny watching the coverage around here in the Nashville area. early on, about a week or so before it came about, I saw some kind of negative stuff from some of their main news channels. Looked like they were trying to get into this gun rights thing and diss it and a little bit, but then it gradually got more and more positive. I think some of the people in the news just didn't realize
the scale of it.
The scale of this thing. It was I think it was the biggest convention that's ever come to Nashville, right? And it was the second largest,
probably.
and it was the second largest NRA convention. Yeah, that's what they were saying on the news the other night. It was the biggest group convention that's ever come to Nashville, and it was the second largest NRA. I think Houston was the largest, and this was the second largest. And again, as we all know, we're talking preaching to the choir. It's regular folks like all of us. You know, it's not the stereotype that the anti-gunners would like to paint, of course, of shooters and gun owners. And all you do is walk through there, look at the news coverage. It looks like any other kind of festival or a concert or a ball game going on downtown, a hockey game or a concert.
Except they always pick out the most extreme. That's the thing.
Yeah.
That's why it's so
they had
easy.
a hard time with this because
well, I'm sure there was some there. That's why it's so easy to slant something in the media, is because you just pick out the most extreme example.
They got a long-haired guy with a Bowie walking around the street.
Yeah, if it's a music festival, they're gonna find some guy that's passed out and doesn't know where he is. If it's the NRA show, they're gonna find some guy that got 2 teeth and
carrying 2 guns on his hips and
just talking about how he just hates everybody. And
that's right.
Yeah, I mean,
you're always gonna see that, but all you do is walk through there, and it's just normal folks.
It really is.
Good folks and friendly folks. The people at the booths were, by and large, I didn't really meet anybody that was
a lot more young people too.
Yeah, a lot of young people.
I think one thing that may have helped with some of that is the video games definitely is the biggest influence on the young people getting into guns. But one aspect I think might be too is some of the veterans coming back from the recent Iraq wars and Afghanistan.
Yeah, I think so.
Because a lot of them are younger; they're like around my age or older. And they have friends that maybe wouldn't have normally been into guns, but they were into guns because they were in the military, and they get them into guns. So I think that plays a factor. I've noticed a lot more young guys that you see, and you'll see a lot of times there'll be a group of guys. It's like a group of friends that they're all into guns, and maybe one of them was a veteran. And you kind of can almost infer that guy maybe got the rest of them into it or something. So.
Yeah, quite a variety, and it's all good. It's good for our cause because it's not just old guys. It's not just young guys. It's everybody. The
old white guys like you.
Yeah, old white guys in the woods like me. Old rednecks in the woods. That's the way, of course, the anti-gunners like to portray us. And as I've said to several people since that we're impressed, and we can't help noticing how many women are interested in firearms. We talked to several came up to us. They watched the videos with their husband, and it's not always the husband or the boyfriend that gets them into it. Sometimes it's the opposite. We had several tell us that, and so there's just a lot of people, all gender and ages, that are participating in the sport and have a carry permit or whatever their thing is. It might just be skeet shooting. Whatever it might be, but
the era of the pink guns is going away, because it used to be that it almost seemed like you had to. The gun industry was all about making pink guns to try to get women involved in firearms, but now enough women are involved in firearms where they're interested in guns for what they are, not trying to make them into something else. So
that's true, and there are people that like the pink gun.
Oh yeah. I'm not knocking that. It's just I'm not knocking a certain color of a gun. I'm just knocking.
I don't want a pink gun.
I'm just kind of knocking how that must be patronizing to women.
Oh, I think it is
if it's used in a marketing context.
Yeah.
If they actually legitimately want that, fine. But
yeah, I think you're right. Yeah, there are different color. Yeah, obviously, if you all haven't noticed, women do seem to like those colors a little bit more. So there is some validity to that, but yeah, it's condescending to, think, well, let's make some pink guns so the women will like them.
It'd be like if only women like guns or something, and they're trying to market guns to men by making them look like NASCAR or something.
Yeah, that's right. That's right. You get a beer with this gun. If you buy this gun, buddy, you get a free 6-pack.
Yeah, exactly.
Well, I guess we're about exceeding our limit on I started saying intelligent conversation. I think we exceeded that at the first 30 seconds, but what else? Anything else that they're dying to know other than why you have a Bowie knife? Wicked looking Bowie knife. I have a weakness for Bowie knives. I almost bought a cold steel at the NRA convention. You can actually buy things there if they're not guns, you know, at the NRA convention. And they had, there was one I was very close on. And it was a big Bowie, like I need another Bowie knife, but I love them. Feel better, John?
I do feel better.
This is real TV, isn't it? Well, I guess we'll probably let them go. We just wanted to kind of touch base with you and check, let you know we're both alive, and I guess we're doing fine. And we're working on videos. A lot of rain, but we've got lots of things in mind to do, and we're working on some things, enjoying it.
We don't have anything good coming up, though.
Yeah, don't look for anything good.
That's the only thing.
Yeah.
I know that's what you're wanting to hear in this kind of situation, but there really isn't anything coming.
That's right. And one of the problems with doing anything good, doing something well, what happens? You begin to expect it.
Yeah, exactly.
If I start making sense in videos, you'll come to expect it. And so we have to make sure. For example, we have a video on a shotgun coming up. It's a short barreled shotgun. You will see, just to verify, just to confirm, I ain't too smart, all through the video.
Yeah.
I call it and he didn't even catch it. He could have at least flagged me or something, you know, or done
well, how would I communicate that to you?
All through the video, I call it an SBR instead of an SBS, you know, for a short barrel shotgun.
Yeah.
Short barrel rifle, I call it a short barrel rifle. About 6 times.
Well, see,
I didn't even realize until I looked at the video.
See, you shouldn't feel bad about that because that whole thing shouldn't even exist anyways.
No,
you know, so
that's true. That's right.
So really, it doesn't even matter.
But as we said before, there's positives and there's negatives to not editing your videos, and you got to take the bad with the good. You got to take the dumb with the smart. No, wait a minute. There's not a lot of smart, is there?
Yeah.
There may not be enough smart to overcome the dumb, but you just got to take the whole package. So, but we really do appreciate you guys watching and coming to see us. Well, you didn't come to see us, but we appreciate. Well, you sort of did after you got to the NRA convention. To the meet and greet, or hollering at us when you saw us, and that's cool. We always enjoy meeting you. It's never a problem. Don't ever think twice about saying hi. And that's we get to do this because you guys are out there exercising your poor taste. So we get to do this. You know. So anything else, John? They're dying to hear.
I can't think of anything.
Mac's about chomping at the bit to get to us.
Oh, did we tell them about our MySpace page yet?
MySpace? Yeah, we're going to start putting everything on MySpace.
Yeah,
we're going
Facebook
retro.
is, and there's just too played out. MySpace.
Well, yeah, we're gonna go back to doing nothing but revolvers and put them on MySpace.
Yeah, let's do that.
Anyway, we love you guys. Glad you're out there watching, and you can see we will never go into comedy, but we will definitely keep making shooting videos, because as long as we do that, life is pretty good.